If I woke up tomorrow and I'd never touched a weight in my life, I had zero training experience and I was starting from fresh, here's exactly what I would do to build my physique. And it's going to be a little different from what most people would tell you to do. The advice most beginners get is absolutely awful. It's either just go lift with absolutely no structure, or some bodybuilders push-pull legs program that they've been running for the last decade alongside a bunch of steroids that they think is going to work for an absolute beginner. Neither is a great option for you. So why should you listen to me? Well, I've been training for 15 years naturally, and I started out as a chubby teenager who just wanted to get a six-pack. But along the way, I've made every mistake you can possibly make. I've followed shit advice, followed shit training programs, I've had shit nutrition, and I've learned what works and what doesn't for beginners through my own trial and error. I've also competed as a natural bodybuilder multiple times, and I've helped coach hundreds of people from beginners to achieving body transformations like this and like this. And what I would do if I was starting again now is very different to what I actually done when I first started lifting. But before we get started, I've got something for you. If you head over to the link in my description, there is my free transformation timeline, which shows you exactly where I was at each step of the journey and talks you through the mistakes that I made along the way so that you don't have to make the same ones. It's completely free. The link is in the description. You've got nothing to lose. So head over there and give it a download. Okay, so phase one. I would start the first 12 weeks by following a 3-day full body split. Now, the reason for this is in the beginning, you don't need an awful lot of volume to actually get your body to grow because obviously when training is new to you, everything is a novel stimulus. Your body is going to grow the minute you touch weights, okay? So 3 times per week for me is a magic number. It's a good amount in the sense of you will make good progress on that, but also it's not too much that you're throwing yourself right in at the deep end and end up like, because for example, if you say you're going to do 6 sessions a week and you only get 5, that's a failure, right? If we set out for 3, it's realistic, it's enough to get you started, and it is a good place, in my opinion, for you to start in terms of recovery and in terms of the progress that you'll get from it. And to give you an idea how that might look, I'll put a 3-day full body split up on the screen right now. If you want to screenshot that and keep a hold of that, you're free to go use it. Again, it's hard to give this without any context behind who it is exactly that's watching this. This is going out to many different people. So this is a very vague, very generic program, but it does the job. If you've got nothing else to follow, this will give you something simple and effective for your first few months of training. And that's it, 3 simple full body days, because the most important thing at this stage is just getting consistent. Just turn up, do your 3 full body days. If you do a little bit extra on other days, then great. If you don't, then don't worry about it, okay? Getting consistent with 3 days is going to be the most important thing yet, okay? The other thing you can start to do at this stage is start to keep a logbook, okay? And this is something I didn't do at the start and I really wish I did. So you note down the exercises that you're doing, note down your training split, and then keep a note of the sets and reps that you do so that when you come to do them again next week, you want to look back and you want to make sure you're progressing on them. And that might look like just getting an extra rep at the same load, or it might look like putting more load in the bar and progressing the weight side of things. Either or, as long as we're heading in the right direction, those little progressions, those micro progressions, week after week, they begin to add up. And this is where you're going to make the most of your progress. So once we've got through that first 3 months, I would then move on to an upper lower split. Okay, so we're getting a little bit more specific here because your body can essentially handle more volume on the same body parts within the same day. Okay, so mostly we're talking about legs here because your upper sessions are still going to be a bit mixed. You know, we're going to have a little bit of chest, a little bit of back, a little bit of shoulders. So you're probably not going to feel that sore after them because again, it's quite a foolish body approach. Well, it's an upper body approach, but you know what I mean. It's quite a few different muscle groups, but legs are probably the big one because if we're doing full leg days, then you probably are going to feel that after it. But by now, your body should be ready for it. In the beginning, you know, if you went and done a full leg day in the first few months, you would feel absolutely annihilated. The other thing at this stage is we can start to add in more compound lifts. You might have noticed in the first full body sessions, I didn't really have a lot of compound lifts in there. And again, it's because although people refer to compound lifts as the basics, they're actually not that basic. They're actually quite hard to do, and there's a level of skill and movement required for them that most people just don't have in the beginning. So we are now at the stage where, again, 4 to 6 months in, you should have like some baseline levels of strength. You should be quite used to training. You should be moving a bit better, and we can start to add these things in. Okay, they become a little bit more easy to implement compared to when you first started. So here's some examples of an upper lower split, 4 days across the week that you could do and you could follow. Again, fairly generic in nature. I don't know you and the specifics of how to deal with you and how you move and any injury history or anything like that. This is just a plain generic program. You can screenshot it, you can go try it out. But again, I don't know if this is going to be perfect for you or not. This is just something that I am throwing out there. Okay, so that's my disclaimer for that one. When we obviously do the programming for our clients, we'll do movement assessments and we'll learn more about their background before we obviously start to put a program together for them. But by the end of the 6 months, you should be in a position where you're starting to notice some changes in your physique, because if you've been consistent with this all, you've done your 3 days a week for the first few months, and then you go into your 4-day split, and again, you're consistent with that, and you're still beating the logbook and you're still progressing, your body should be changing. You should be starting to see muscles appearing, shapes appearing. Again, you're not going to be the finished project. It's only been 6 months. Again, changing your body is going to take a lot longer than 6 months. If you look at me, for example, up until this point, I've spent 79 months of my life in a gaining phase, which is dedicated to building muscle, okay? So that's over 6 years of my life fully dedicated to building muscle. And I don't have that much muscle, okay? So it does take time to build muscle, but if you get the beginning stages right, that is where you can get the best bang for your buck, because your body is ready to change, it's ready to adapt because it's all new, and this is where you will build the most muscle in the shortest period of time. Beyond your first 6 months, you can then start to get more specific, and you can go down the route of push-pull leg programs or body part splits or more specific stuff like that. But again, like when I say like full body into upper lower, it's not as if like one is better than the other. It's not as if like, body part split is superior to upper lower or full body is inferior to push pull legs. That's not the way that it works. It's just in terms of the reason I've put it like this is in terms of the volumes and in terms of how your body's going to respond in those early days. Okay, and again, it's a case of building up consistency first, and then you can get more specific down the line. Okay, that's all you need to do at the start. Is just keep turning up. Okay, it doesn't even matter if what you do is that great. If you keep turning up, you'll get better at it. You'll make improvements, and your body will start to change. Okay, so moving on to nutrition. Here are the 3 main rules I would follow for your nutrition. And first of all, I would be prioritizing your protein and making sure you're eating enough. So to keep it really simple, round about 2 grams per kilo of body weight will be absolutely fine to begin with. So if you weigh 70 kilos, for example, then you're going to want around about 140 grams of protein. Having more is not going to be a bad thing. Having less, arguably, you could be leaving gains on the table. So we want to make that as a sort of our bare minimum from there. The next one is eat mostly whole, unprocessed, single ingredient foods. Now, not all your food is going to come from this. So usually I would say about 80% of your food's coming from these nutrient dense whole food sources and 20% coming from stuff that's maybe just not so nutrient dense. But again, we can have a little bit of that in there. We can have that balance, okay? But what I would say with this is if most of your food comes from nutrient dense sources, let's just say you're eating 2,000 calories a day, 80% of that is coming from these nutrient dense sources versus 2,000 calories a day all coming from highly processed sources, then I guarantee your physique is going to look better eating quote unquote cleaner foods, okay? And finally, the last thing I'm going to say about nutrition on this video is don't overcomplicate it, okay? A lot of people think they need to carb cycle or they need to have training, non-training days. Honestly, just keep it simple. Keep it really simple. Make a meal plan of foods that you can eat every single day that match the amount of calories you need to eat and have the right amount of protein, and just stick with it. Make it simple. Use foods that are quick and easy to prep. Again, we want them to be nutrient dense whole foods, of course, but the more you have like a routine or you have a rhythm, the more you can systemize it, the more you can make it like easier to do, and you find ways of getting stuff done. And I'm not saying you can never come off plan and you have to stick to the same foods every single day, but if we've got that rough baseline of what we'll roughly eat most days, then changing things in and out is actually quite easy, okay? We just need some structure to base it off as a blueprint, and then we can work from there. And that's exactly what I do with my nutrition to this day. So that's it. It's exactly what I would do if I were brand new to lifting, and what I think you should do if you're brand new to lifting. Start with a full body split, then we'll progress on to an upper lower split. We'll start to up the volume over time, and then we'll get to a point where we can't do any more volume. And that's where I'd actually look at bringing your volume down. And I never even covered this in a video, but I would bring your volume down and then go at it with more intensity. That's maybe for another video. But again, that's how I would start things. I get nutrition right. I'd make sure I'm eating enough protein. I'd eat mostly whole foods. I'd keep it simple. I'd make myself a meal plan. I'd stick to that most days. And most of all, I would just be consistent and keep turning up no matter how I feel. And after a year of this, you'll be like a new person. And then if you keep going and keep going until you've done it for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you will completely change your physique. So if you found this video useful, please like and subscribe. I put videos like this up every week, sometimes even twice a week if I'm in the mood. So there you go. And remember to head over to the link in my description where you can download the free transformation timeline, which goes over my transformation from beginner to where I'm at now. And it maps out all the mistakes that I made along the way. Simply reading one of those mistakes could save you years in terms of your progress, okay? So make sure you go download that and you'll progress a hell of a lot faster than I did.